we'd like to start our show off with why your team sucks. Lonnie Cox, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. This is your favorite critic of the NFL, Lonnie Cox here. And today we are going to take a trip to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are going to talk about the god-awful Carolina Panthers, or I should say the Carolina Kittens. Oh, my God, your team is awful. You just fired your head coach. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were your options going into this season. And everyone thought there was going to be a quarterback competition. Who knew that you would have made Geno Smith the better option to start a quarterback this year? You have DJ Moore, you have Christian McCaffrey, and basically what you have now become is a market that other teams are going to come and pluck away at your rebuild for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years so that you can get to the Super Bowl and lose again to the Patriots. Your team sucks. Usually I like to finish this section by saying something nice about your team. You're going to have the number 1 overall draft pick that you'll probably blow on a defensive end that you'll get 2 years out of. Best of luck, I guess, to the Carolina Panthers, but God, does your team suck.
I feel like they should probably take a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick. Wouldn't you think?
But there's not a quarterback this year, really.
No, there's not going to be a good quarterback. I thought there were some good quarterbacks coming out. No, you're not feeling the quarterback situation?
Maybe Bryce Young.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see about that. But regardless, they did fire their head coach. I feel like Matt Rule, right? And they also fired their DC, their defensive coordinator, both of them. I feel like if they really wanted to punish those guys, they should have made them finish the season. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a better, like, you're letting them off the hook. Those guys are like, whoop, thank God we're out of there. You know what I mean? Like, what a relief. We don't have to finish.
Honestly, it looks better for you because now you're not to blame. It's like, see, I left and they still kept sucking.
Yeah, I mean, well, clearly they're catching a lot of heat. But yeah, like let those guys off the hook like that. Fuck that. Make them finish the season. Make them feel it, you know, like you're getting you could tell them they're getting fired, but you have to finish the year if you want to get paid. They do suck, man. They're terrible. And now it's PJ Walker. PJ Walker is going to be supposedly their starter, although who knows, they might trade, sign somebody. Cam Newton's still out there. God, you feel bad for Christian McCaffrey? I feel bad for Christian McCaffrey. Finally healthy.
I don't feel bad for him at all because he's going to be a Buffalo Bill. I mean, he's out of there. He's gone.
God, that would be scary. That would be terrifying if the Bills got McCaffrey. But yeah, why not? He should go somewhere like that. That'd be great for him. Are you going to back up this Carolina team sucking by picking PJ Walker maybe as your worst quarterback of the week? I don't like let me tell you something. I don't like picking the guys who are just coming in because sometimes they do pretty well. Like that. Nobody has film. I mean, there's a little bit of film on PJ Walker, but like Bailey Zappi, like nobody, we didn't know what the fuck he was gonna do. You know, I think he did pretty well last week. So. All right, that's a pretty legit one. I almost thought you were going to take the Packers this week. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers are the obvious choice. But the Packers, man, like going over to London and getting beat by the Giants? Is this the Giants being pretty good or the Packers being pretty bad or travel? You know, what the fuck's up with the Packers? I thought they were going to win that game for sure.
Well, the question is are we getting to the point in the season where we start to wonder if the Giants are good?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, how good
Saquon's running great again. Like, what can you say? Like,
I know
Saquon's running well. Their defense is playing solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I think they might just be kind of good.
They might be kind of good. Yeah. With all of their receivers out, like their top 3 receiving options projected coming into this year, were supposed to be Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, and Wan'Dale Robinson. None of those guys played. 0 of those guys played. They elevated Darius Slayton from the practice squad. Now he's got big playability and he's got some experience. So, but like he was their number 1 option, and they utilized their tight ends a lot, and they really did lean on Saquon heavily, and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been playing tough, hard-nosed, quality football. but is this the Saquon effect? This is like a player of that magnitude, of that quality, of that caliber being 100% healthy, because they're using him in the Wildcat. They're using him in so many different ways, and it's working.
You know, they went out and they got Evan Neal, who's arguably one of the greatest athletes in the NFL draft last year. I don't know if you saw that picture of him, 6'7", 6'8", doing plyometric box jumps. One of the most athletic guys I've ever seen, honestly. They rebuilt that offensive line. I believe they got the center from the New Orleans Saints. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they really rebuilt that offense. Daniel Jones, is he going to take him to the Super Bowl? Probably not. But Saquon, a solid defense. They got Thibodeau. I don't hate it. You know?
And theoretically, some of those big play receivers might be coming back and getting healthy soon. Robinson and Tony have just been kind of like nicked up, and they're just sort of sitting and waiting on them to come back in. That could be a tough team to beat. Dude, 4-1 in the NFC right now is looking good. Also 4-1 in the NFC. In the Packers, are we panicking on the Packers yet? Yeah. I mean, Rodgers doesn't look happy. He's not enjoying himself at all. Do the Packers have a legitimate shot at missing the playoffs in a weak NFC right now? 7 teams. Are they not going to be one of the top 7 teams?
I think it's absolutely possible. Yeah, man.
I find it hard to imagine. I think they might be near the bottom of that. That they're going to be a wild card, maybe, but I just don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. I think they're too good to miss the playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers is too good, but is the team as a whole too good?
I think so.
They do have an elite defense. I believe they have the number 6 scoring defense in the NFL right now. Their defense is good.
Their running backs are great. Aaron Jones is.
They have the best running backfield. You know, they have one of the best backfields in football. So
certainly one of, I think those, you just need to get those wide receivers on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. He looks frustrated a lot. And then hopefully, I think their schedule gets a little bit softer, but they looked pretty bad against the Patriots and were very lucky to win that game. And then the Giants just mopped the floor of them. I mean, it was closer than that, but still. All right. Taysom Hill dropped a 40 burger from the tight end position. Did anybody play him this week? Did anyone pick him up this week? I was this close. I have that one league that I keep flip-flopping on my tight end. I'm like, just trying to get anything. My team's still dominant. Tight end was the last thing I addressed. I've been riding with Conklin. I was this close to just throwing Taysom Hill in there this week and seeing what happened. I looked at him for a hard minute, like, should I or should I not? Because it's not like I need it. I'm probably going to go all in for him this week in that league.
Just because he's going to repeat anything like that again this season, though, I think that's a one and done for him.
Here's the thing. On that team, if you have a team that's pretty solid, right, that you are putting up decent numbers, Taysom Hill is a boom or bust. I got 0 from Conklin, and he's been pretty heavily targeted up to this point in the season, but I got a 0 from him. I won my matchup anyway. Taysom Hill's the guy where, if other guys tank on your team, he might have one of those games. He might have a touchdown. He might have 100 yards rushing. Who knows? He might give you a 0, but it looks like they're going to try to use him more. Or do you think that changes with Jameis Winston coming back? Do you think that was more of a, I don't know, we're going to use him this week, but Jameis Winston comes back in, he gets to more of a traditional role?
Absolutely. I mean,
you think he goes back to a more traditional role?
100%. I don't think he fits into their offense. That's not offense that they want to run.
I wouldn't waste any money on this for a pickup or anything.
I mean, I only have $18 left in that league anyway. I've spent a lot. My team is good. I'm not going to, I have no problem. So you're saying you wouldn't dump Conklin for him? I have nobody else at tight end. To me, it's just like a boomer bust, throw him in there, hope for the best. Because I've been getting
Conklin. Does he split any reps or catches with someone?
Right now, he's just getting out. This past week, the Jets dropped 40 and he scored 0 points. So that's not great. That's not a great look.
Defense did a lot of that because the offense is shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, here's the thing, though. The upside for Taysom Hill is Jameis is fragile. He has fractures in his back. Just because he comes back doesn't mean he's going to stay in.
True. That's right.
So,
yeah. His injury is not great.
But here's the thing. If the Saints wanted to run that offense, they would run that offense. Taysom Hill would be their quarterback.
I don't think they want. I think they want the versatility of using him sometimes. That's what I think they're trying to go with. They're just trying to throw some curveballs at the defense so that the defense can't get complacent and settle into what they're trying to do offensively. Also, they were without Michael Thomas, and Chris Olave got hurt in that game, so they were kind of looking for.
Yeah, what's up?
Wait, who were they without?
What's that?
Who was the first person they were without?
Michael Thomas is supposed to be back this week, by the way. Yeah, and Chris Olave out with a concussion. So, but they are supposed to get Michael Thomas back. They're expected to have him back this week. Chris Olave, obviously, that's going to depend on the concussion protocol. And I think was Jarvis Landry out too? They were kind of maybe banged up all across the board. So they're just looking for anybody with skill position, like, speed and athleticism to move the ball. So you guys are not in on Hill. You're not in on taking a chance on him, if you're,
I don't hate it.
If you're struggling at tight end in a league that is very thin at tight end, I think he's a pretty decent streaming option. Yeah, he might give you a 0, but there's a bunch of other guys who might give you 0s. I wouldn't go with him over Hayden Hurst or somebody like that who's been looking like he's more of a consistent target on a pretty good offense with a good quarterback. But even Evan Ingram, I think I'd still rather have Evan Ingram than him. Beyond those guys who may or may not be available, I don't hate him. I don't hate him as an option. I'm thinking about rolling with him over Conklin. So he's definitely going to be a hot waiver pickup this week, Taysom Hill. And he will probably never hit that number again this year. Here's the other thing. Are they going to change his designation because of how much he's running? I don't know how I don't know how that fucking works. You can pick him up as a tight end and then have to use him as a running back. That would suck. So buyer beware, but take a look at Taysom Hill, see where he's at. Jets putting up 40 on the Dolphins. Is that a big deal? Are we thinking the Dolphins? Is that just, do you care about this game or is this a fluke?
No, I feel like the Jets are going to be at the bottom of the AFC, so it's not going to really affect the standings that much. And honestly, we have 5 of our key players out. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I kind of think it was more injury related. What about you, Lonnie?
Remind me which players were out. Teddy.
Their safety. Yeah, they're down to their 3rd string quarterback. And that does have a huge impact on just,
short amount of time that the defense is in the field. And short. Okay. Definitely not hitting the panic button, but 2 losses in a row is not great.
It's not. But
40 points, that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. How good are the Jets potentially? If Zach Wilson plays reasonably well, he looks like he's got a lot of talent around him. A lot. Like Elijah Moore. Young talent. Elijah Moore has done nothing this year. He was supposedly going to be their number 1 receiver. He's done almost nothing, and their offense is still putting up a lot of points. Corey Davis looks really good. Obviously, the rookie Garrett Wilson looks unbelievable, and they're both their running backs. You got your rookie and you got your 2nd-year back, and they both look like studs.
Michael Carter and the other guy's name is
Breece Hall. They might end up with the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. What's his name?
Sauce Gardner
got a pick. He's looking really good. Jets might make some noise. 3-2. Jets are 3-2. They could be interesting. Down the stretch. Certainly a spoiler going down the stretch in the AFC. They're definitely a spoiler type team. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I'm saying they're going to knock somebody else out of the playoffs. That's what I think.
I don't believe in the Jets. I think the Jets will be the Jets.
Jets, they weren't the Jets last Sunday, so we'll find out. But I think they're interesting. They're certainly watchable. I'll put it that way. They're a very watchable team this year, which recent years they have not been watched. It's just been bad football. Speaking of bad, unwatchable football, Thursday night, I had my show at the Improv, which I actually picked. She gave me a couple options for a Thursday show, and I looked at the NFL schedule. I'm like, which Thursday game do I not care about watching? I picked that game like 2 months ago to have my show, and I didn't miss a damn thing. Apparently, huh? Did you guys watch it?
I watched some of it. Awful.
That's such a waste of your life. Russ is bad. Russell Wilson is no longer good at football. I don't think. We've been talking about it. We've been like, we
I
want.
don't want to say that, but yeah, he's making some really bad decisions, man. And he's missing like, I don't know what his reads are, what he's going through, his levels. They're just missing wide open guys.
He's missing wide open guys. He's making bad reads. That's what I'm seeing. It's like this. He looks like a quarterback who's past his prime, who's falling off the cliff. Because we see it, you see it with every quarterback usually sooner or later, except for the ones that go out on top, like Elway or Montana, arguably. But like he looks like he's fallen off a cliff, and it's not good. Why did they pay him so much? What the fuck? Like what did they see in camp that was so different from this? I know he's hurt. Also, by the way, he is injured. Supposedly,
that timing of that injury is very suspect to me.
Yeah. That's not uncommon though for players to like hide injuries and then later on you find out about it. Like he was playing bad. He's injured. I don't know.
Sure, but I mean, you had Denver Broncos fans leaving the stadium before overtime.
Yeah,
they're booing him on the field. It's a bad look. I mean, one thing you've realized, whether or not Russell Wilson is bad or good at football, I think everyone's just kind of realized that he's a cornball.
Yeah,
and like they're not like how just incredibly uncool he is.
Yeah, nobody really likes him anymore.
Yeah, he's lost his sauce.
He's lost the shine that he had when he was a third round rookie and taking it.
Well, he was hanging out with the cool kids in the Legion of Boom.
That's true. Yeah, he was the
cool friends.
Yeah, he was the little kid who they brought up and brought along with him. Marshawn,
and arguably now playing on the most powerful offense he's ever been on.
Nothing.
And it's just, I mean, I do believe that their coach is probably the next coach you'll see fired unless something drastic happens.
Yeah,
I don't think he might not make it through his first season. He is just god awful.
I agree. But it's
something needs to happen because this is affecting Jerry Jeudy's value. This is
it's affecting every Bronco player's value. Obviously, Javonte Williams going out was not helpful, but the stuff that you're talking about, the stuff he's missing, they should have won that game. A couple easy throws and they win that game, and he blew it. So you get like,
I mean, the reaction from what was his Hamler that was wide open in the end zone, and his reaction after that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
About what's going on in the locker room,
his players, his teammates aren't buying into what he's doing. So, and that's bad when you lose.
How could they? I mean, the whole country is making fun of Broncos country. Let's ride. Like the whole country is making fun of him, doing that pregame ritual that he does. In Seattle, it was cute. He had won a Super Bowl there. It was like, okay. But now it's like, come on, dude. Like you're losing and you just look stupid, Yeah,
it's not good. Right. We want to see pissed off Russ. We want to see him throwing fucking coolers. That's what we want to see. That's what everybody wants to see. Not like we want him to lose, but like show us that you care about it. Like show us that you're like fucking pissed off. And he's not doing that. He's just kind of like, all right, we'll get him next time. It's like, fuck you, dude. Shut up. Like just go throw something at the at the net. Flip over.
He's got it too good, man.
Yeah. It's not a good situation there at all. And the Colts also don't look good, but Jonathan Taylor's out. Nyheim Hines went out right away in that game. That's not a great situation for them. So, and Matt Ryan looks like he's pretty washed as well, but we already kind of knew that. I feel like that Ravens Bengals game was a nice one last night. A little bit of a defensive struggle, but it felt good. It felt watchable as a defensive kind of struggle back and forth. Good stuff towards the end. The Bengals go down, take the lead. Ravens come back, win the game. Good game overall. Kind of what we all expected for the most part with the Ravens and the Bengals. Ravens seem like they just have a little bit of an edge on the Bengals, at least at this point in the season. Bengals, are you thinking they're still a playoff team in this tough AFC?
Absolutely. They're a great team.
They looked like they struggled last night. And I think that the Ravens are better than maybe people realize. But they were really having a hard time. And I know T. Higgins didn't go out in that game with I think ankle injury early. He was standing on the sideline, so it doesn't look serious, but that really does affect their offense. It makes it a lot harder for Chase to get open when Higgins isn't on the other side of the field. So, yeah, I don't know. But Ty, you buying the Bengals or are you selling the Bengals?
No, but I told you I was shaky on them from the beginning, and I was like, I don't know. You guys told me they strengthened up their offensive line, all this and that. I didn't see it.
It's not there yet. They're still trying to figure out the offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be it's not a full-blown Super Bowl hangover, but we're getting a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. But if they make if they make the playoffs, you can't call it a Super Bowl hangover. You call it, building on something from last year in a tough.
Yeah, but I don't know if they even make the playoffs. I don't know what their schedule is. Like they barely beat our hurt Dolphins team. Like,
yeah, their schedule's not great. It's got to be tough because they went to the Super Bowl, so it's going to be a difficult schedule.
It's tough, but that defense, man, people just don't talk about that defense. It is elite.
Yeah,
they have great players across that defense.
That should carry them through at least a couple games.
I mean, you've got Joe Mixon, you got Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
you have Jamar Chase. Like, I think that's an 11-win team.
I think so too. I'm curious as to when they play the Browns. Do they have to play the Browns after Deshaun Watson comes back? Because that could really impact.
But again, I think you start to see at that point in the season the offensive line come together.
You start to
see the defense really start to buckle down at that point in the season.
Yep.
So let's see. It'll be interesting. But I bet you when the Browns come back, you might even see them take a little bit of a step back from Deshaun Watson, because it's not like Deshaun Watson has played with this team before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he was there through camp. He's there, and he's
there now, right?
I want to say he's practicing. Yeah,
but look at Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell, just because you put what we think a good quarterback into a good system, it doesn't mean that it means success right away.
Okay, but Russ hadn't looked good for a couple of years. He hasn't really
exactly.
Deshaun Watson is elite.
Yeah, when we last saw Deshaun, he was slinging that thing.
He was MVP caliber last time we saw him, and it wasn't that long ago. So I think the Browns are going to be better with him. Yeah, the Bengals will probably be better at that point too, but that could be a really tough situation for the Bengals if they have to run into the Browns. I'm curious to see what their late season schedule looks like, the Bengals. All right. What else we got? Giselle hires divorce attorney. Would you rather be Tom Brady for 1 year or be married to Giselle for the rest of your life? What is it? I mean, really? What do you guys make of this whole thing? I know it's not football related, but it kind of is football related. Dude, you're a guy like this I feel like this is a classic case of a woman meeting a guy and she likes him how he is. She likes him for all these qualities, right? And then he doesn't change at all over the course of the next 15 years. And she's like, why haven't you changed? And he's like, why the fuck have you changed? Like this has always been me. Like, what are you talking about? I love football. I want to play football. And she's like, no, I'm over it. Like, what the fuck? Is this going to affect him this year? Do you think it's going to affect his play at all? Do you think it's already affecting his play? He's been playing pretty well.
I mean, I don't think the Bucs are going to get that far anyway. So I think it is going to affect him because it's not going to be worth it. He lost his family to lose in the first round.
Do you think she's going to stick to her guns, or is she just like throwing a fit and being pissed off?
I think it can be fixed, right? Anything can be fixed. Right?
Apparently he doesn't want to get a divorce, but he also didn't want to stop playing football. So that's, I don't know. That's a pretty, it's pretty rough situation. Kind of feel for the guy, but
also have you heard that she's a witch and like she's like is usually blessing his ceremonies and his games and all that shit? Like she gives him crystals. Yep. So now he has that going against him.
I'm sure the league will mount a full investigation. Probably will be a 3-game suspension involving witchcraft and cheating. And maybe he'll be penalized for a Super Bowl at some point with because of witchcraft. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're Tom Brady, are you regretting your decision to come back right now? Do you think he knew that his marriage was on the line for this one? Or is he just like blindsided? He seems kind of blindsided.
I mean, we were talking about Tom Brady retiring at the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
The last time they won a Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much. I honestly don't really give too much of a shit about Tom Brady's wife,
It's just funny to talk about.
It is funny. I mean, it sucks, or it doesn't. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, he looks a little old this year, and we never really said that about Tom Brady before. He still looks good, but you're starting to see it wear on his face. You know, you just got to wonder, like, how long can he do this for? You know, how many more times can he end up on his back? Or, you know, I mean, yeah, they beat the Falcons this week, but not handily. The Buccaneers have not been the Buccaneers of the last 2 Tom Brady years. So, yeah, we're all kind of looking now and being like, Tom Brady should have retired. But if at the end of the year he's hoisting the Super Bowl trophy, like, then we'll all be like, oh, you know, which is always possible with Tom Brady.
Always possible. First year,
you know,
the first year in Tampa didn't look great at this point in the season either.
Sure.
So,
you know, at some point, I mean, I bet you at one point in the season we're going to be looking at a Buccaneers Packers divisional playoff game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a Buccaneers, I don't know, Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah.
We'll see them down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never
They're going to win that division.
I think so. Yeah. The division looks weak. I would say so. We had some major injuries this week. Rashad Penny broke his tibia, done for the season. Bummer. And also rough on some fantasy teams. He was actually producing pretty well, coming off probably his best fantasy week last week. Carried some teams for sure. I had him on 2 of my teams. That's a bummer. Bridgewater, you mentioned, out with a concussion. Tua, maybe is he going to be back in a week or 2? What are you hearing?
I think so. I think he'll be back this week.
This week? You think this week? All right. I mean, hope so. I just, you know, that's, I heard there's always going to be a doctor who says something crazy, but like there are doctors who are like, he should retire. That was bad.
Yeah, man. People say anything for publicity. How are you going to not see a patient and then give medical advice on him?
I mean,
it's insane.
Sure. There's also lots of doctors who are like, nobody should ever play football. So, and they're not wrong from a health standpoint. Baker Mayfield injured, out. We talked about that. Dalton Schultz out for the Cowboys. Cowboys got a pretty quality win against the Rams this week. They're looking pretty solid. Rams are looking pretty sketchy. And Odell Beckham is talking about coming back mid-November, but he hasn't committed to the Rams, which everybody kind of was thinking he might. His comfort level with Stafford, I feel like, may factor in there, but he also is looking to win another chip. So be curious to see what the Odell Beckham sweepstakes look like.
Before you scoot on by that, I just want to remind you guys, do you guys know who my fantasy defense team is this year? And
I believe it's the Cowboys.
What is my fantasy defense has been the last 3 years of our fantasy football team? Is my nickname the Defensive Wizard? I think. It might
your
be.
Your defense is looking pretty solid. They have a tough schedule though coming up. I think
they have a tough schedule, but here's the thing, and I'll tell anybody listening to this: it's not about overall defense, right? This is not Madden. This isn't a season where you're trying to like get the lowest yards possible. You want the big plays. You want the sacks, the strip sacks, the fumbles, the blocks, the touchdowns, and you got to look at certain players on your defense. And I always look for that wherever it's available.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Cowboys have it. And they've got their defense in real life is also good. Their fantasy defense is good.
The third,
defense.
They are the third overall defense in the NFL right now in terms of total scoring.
Very impressive. Doing good things. Still not getting Dak back this week yet, though, I don't think.
No, but why rush him? I mean,
absolutely. At this point, you can take a loss. It doesn't even matter. And they might win.
I mean, you got Cooper. You wanted to win 2 out of the eventual 6 that you were expecting to lose with Dak, you know?
Yeah, you're doing good. Keep him on the bench. Let him heal up. T. Higgins, mentioned him. Ankle, maybe not a big deal. Monitor it. James Conner went out with a rib injury, and so did his backup, Darrell Williams went out. Dude, Cardinals played pretty tough against the Eagles, but getting banged up at running back, that's not great. And they still have 1 more week till they get DeAndre Hopkins back. Be curious. We've been talking about that. How much better are they going to look with DeAndre Hopkins?
Significantly. Tyreek
Hill, I think so too. Tyreek Hill, foot injury, serious, not so serious. We think maybe he'll play next week. Damian Harris out with a hamstring injury, which is really good news for anybody who's rostering Ramondre Stevenson. He was good anyway, even when they were splitting time. Ramondre Stevenson looks like he's going to take over that backfield. And definitely if Harris is out, Ramondre Stevenson's a must start. Chris Olave out with a concussion. He was looking pretty good. He was playing. He was like a flex guy, maybe a wide receiver 3. So Dak, we don't think he's coming back yet. David Montgomery was questionable, did come back and played really well for the Bears. He's back in the obviously must start conversation. Michael Thomas is expected to be back this week, but keep an eye on that. That's going to be a big boost for anybody with him. DeAndre Swift on a bye this week, and hopefully he'll be back the following week. He's been, oh man, anybody who drafted Swift high has been hurting. So guys who are going to see a big boost, Kenneth Walker, obviously with Rashad Penny going out, he's probably going to be the guy. He might be the workhorse back. You got him on your team, so you just got a big upgrade. Really nice. Anybody who drafted Kenneth Walker towards the end, if he's still available in your league, obviously he's going to be probably the number 1 waiver pickup. Jaylen Warren has been basically splitting time with Najee Harris. That has been really frustrating for Najee Harris people, but Jaylen Warren is probably a good waiver guy. And Eno Benjamin is just the last running back that the Cardinals have at this point. They don't have any other running backs, so go get him. We talked about Taysom Hill, Hayden Hurst, and Evan Ingram. 3 pretty good tight end options if you need to go get somebody. And I think Darren Waller is going to be on a bye this week. So any Waller owners, you're going to need to have somebody. I like Hayden Hurst if you can find him. Alec Pierce was a bright spot for the Colts. He looks like their number 2 receiver. He's been pretty productive. So he's a guy. Rondale Moore got a lot of action. Probably going to see 1 more week of pretty steady production from him, hopefully. And then once DeAndre Hopkins come back, we'll see as far as that goes. Darius Slayton is the only wide receiver on the Giants right now. And then if you need a quarterback, if you're bailing on Russ, which you should absolutely bail on Russ, or for some god-awful reason you had Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz put up a pretty good week. And Geno Smith might be just a legit starter for the rest of the season in fantasy. Geno Smith and those Seahawks are putting up big numbers, and he has great skill players around him. So look at Geno. All right, let's get to quarterback picks, and we'll pick tonight's game, and then we'll let Lonnie get out of here, and we'll wrap it up. I finished dead last in quarterbacks because Justin Fields decided he figured out how to play football this week, apparently. So I got first pick, and I am taking, there's a lot of bad options this week, but there's some things could move around too. There's some questionable, we don't know exactly who's going to play situations too. I decided I'm going to go with Cooper Rush against the Eagles defense. I think the Eagles defense have a pretty decent shot at just eating him alive. Like you said, it's all about the sacks. It's about the interceptions. When you're picking a bad quarterback, it's the same as picking a defense. And that Eagles defense is just looking so good. So I'm going Cooper Rush, week 6, first pick. Vital, you got second pick. You picked well. Davis Mills was just barely ahead of Baker Mayfield, but he also had a really bad week. Who you got worst quarterback?
This week I'm gonna take old reliable, the greatest choker of all time, Matt Ryan, playing against my boy Josh Allen.
Okay,
the other one.
I thought about Matt Ryan as well. Who are they playing again? No, they're playing Jacksonville. Yeah. Oh yeah, Josh Allen, right? Yeah, I thought about it. I was actually looking at Matt Ryan as well. Okay, and Lonnie, you get the last pick. Who are you going with?
So it's a tough week this week. I'm looking at my defenses here.
Yeah.
Trying to see. Yeah. By the way, can we just complain that the Chiefs and the Bills are at 4:00 next week and not Sunday Night Football?
I know they should. I wonder if
they've been missing it all week.
It's a fucking Cowboys Eagles game. It's like, all right, that's a good game, but
come on, that's crazy. That's crazy. You're talking about it wasn't the AFC Championship game, but it felt like
But it might as well. It was the best game we've ever seen. Any of us.
Yeah, come on, give us a night game on that one. That's crazy. So,
all right,
agreed. You got Jacoby against the Patriots, maybe. I don't know. PJ against the Rams. Marcus Mariota against the Niners.
It's between Mariota and PJ.
Mm-hmm. Dicey with those guys is that they are scrambling quarterbacks.
They're scramblers.
Mm-hmm. You never know when they're going to run for a touchdown.
But Mariota is scoring pretty decently. He's only had one down year. PJ, Please don't do me wrong, my friend.
PJ Walker. All right. PJ Walker against the Rams defense. That's probably a pretty good pick. I almost went with him, but just, the scouting report, you never know. All right. DraftKings tonight. Captains. Lonnie, hit us. Who's your captain?
Patty.
Who?
Patty.
Pat Mahomes. All right. Vital.
You know it, Patrick.
Oh, all right. I'm the outlier.
Guess. Travis Kelce.
Devontae Adams.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I think Devontae Adams is going to have a big night tonight. Who do you guys like in this game tonight? Raiders kind of really need to win. You like the Chiefs or the Raiders?
At home? Arrowhead?
Arrowhead?
Yeah.
Chiefs. Yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs too, but I like this game. I think the Raiders have a puncher's chance in this one. So I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be, this is a good night game. This should be a good one. All right. You guys need anything tonight to win still?
I'm going up against Juju. I'm down 10 points, but I have Josh Jacobs, Edwards-Helaire, and Pat Mahomes. I'm liking my chances.
I feel pretty good about that. Yeah. I need a bunch. I'm in a league where I have like 3 guys and I need them all to do well, but it's like Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and Pat Mahomes. So I got a chance. I got a shot.
Yep.
Vital, what about you?
I'm up 10 points against Terrazzo, but he's got Devontae Adams. So, but tough. I got I've got Vegas kicker and
Carlson could do well.
And Waller. I've got Waller. So
all right. Okay. You get a decent game from Waller. If you get Waller to snipe a couple touchdowns from Adams, you're in good shape.
I'm already up 10, so it gives me a little bit of a buffer.
You're looking pretty good. I'm looking at taking, maybe, depending on how Lonnie does tonight, maybe retaking the point lead in the league. But you and me are gonna be right there probably. All right.
Wait. Aren't I up by 3?
What?
I'm up by 3. I thought you can only win 2 points.
Point total. No. I'm talking about point total in our league. High scoring fantasy teams. Yeah. You and me have 2 of the highest scoring fantasy teams right now in our league. Even though I'm going to be 2 and 3, I'm still might have the most points in the league. All right. We'll let you get out of here, Lonnie. Go. You're going to the Heat game. Have fun with that. Any big shows you guys want to promo before you go?
Vital, I know you're at Villain. I'm at Bay 13 on Wednesday.
Villain, Bay 13.
That's it for me.
I got this weekend. I got 4 shows in 3 days at the Black Box, like a black box run. I'm featuring for some guy from, I don't know who he is, but it should be a lot of fun. Thursday night in Delray, and then 2 nights in Boca. So we got all that coming up. So good. Have good shows this weekend, guys. Anybody wants to see us, watch us, follow us. You can find all the information on our YouTube channel, and you can just DM me somewhere if you want I'll send you all the links. All right. I'll see you guys soon.
Have a good one, guys.